I am Crete, guys. Welcome to Crete Chats. I am Crete. Welcome to Crete Chats. I am Crete. If you're watching this video, then you probably already watched the video I did about boundaries, and if you didn't, girl, click on it. Okay, so this is going to be a video for all of my cosmetologists, all of my stylists out there. I know I have a lot of subscribers who are in hair school or thinking about going to hair school, so I really appreciate being able to put information out there for you guys. I still want to make a story time video for you guys, but I can't think of a story time for some reason. I was supposed to make a boundaries video and a story time, but I cannot think of a story time to do. So I wanted to make a video about state board, about the cosmetology state board exam. And I actually made a video for this, and I was like midway through editing, and I was like, girl, this is a minutes. Like, I'm not even about to edit this. So I'm about to make another video right now about state board, and I'm going to talk about the written exam and the practical exam and the things that I think you should do in order to pass those exams. Now, I live in Louisiana, so this is going to be how to pass the state board in Louisiana. It's different everywhere else. There's different material, but the study habits and how to be prepared, that's going to be the same everywhere, girl. So I hope you're ready. So moving forward, in order to take your written state board in Louisiana, you take your written first and then you take your practical. So basically, I took my written while I was still in school, which is what I really recommend you guys doing. You need to be in school 1,500 hours to get your license, and you can start scheduling to take it at 1,000 hours, I believe. Again, Louisiana. So whenever you hit your 1,000 hours and you finished all of your textbook work and all of your tests and all of your finals at school, then you can start looking to take your state board exam. So I finished all that, and I took my state board exam while I was still in school, and I studied my tail off. I studied my tail, my tits, my toes. I studied, girl, my body off, okay, and I passed it. So it was hard. It was definitely a hard exam whenever you're in cosmetology school, and if you're not in hair school or you haven't gotten started yet, you probably won't understand some of the stuff that I'm talking about just because I'm going to be using technical terms, but I'll try to make it so you would understand if you didn't start school yet. There's a textbook that we go by. It's one textbook that you go by when you're in cosmetology school, and it's called the Milady textbook, and there's another textbook as well, but we use the Milady in Louisiana, so I'm not sure the other names for the other ones. But in Milady, in the textbook, it's stuff about electricity, stuff about chemicals, stuff about wigs, stuff about head shape, stuff about nerves, muscles, blood vessels, arteries. There's stuff about different types of skin, the different layers of the skin. There's stuff about nails, funguses, bacteria, cancers, diseases. There's stuff about, of course, different products, different shampoos and things like that, what those different products do. There's stuff about different types of weave and like single wefted tracks and Remy hair and yaki hair and human hair and synthetic blends, and there's stuff about permanent waving and relaxers and the different kinds of waving, and there's stuff about the pH scale, and if something is basic or acidic or alkaline. There's the history of hair, like what people in ancient Greece did and what people in ancient Egypt did, and like the stories and stuff like that. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. All of that is on your exam. All of it is on your exam, okay? There's also stuff like, if somebody has blue eyes, what color eyeshadow should you use? Or if somebody has, if their eyes are really far apart, what can you do with their eyebrows to make it look even? Like, it's literally it's like the easiest stuff to the hardest stuff. So the way I studied was, I had a state board instructor that would come to the school, and she would like give us practice exams and stuff like that. Each practice exam had about 100 questions on it, and I think I had about 3 of those. I think she gave us 5 in total, but I used 3 to study, so that was like 300 questions. Then I went in the back of my Milady textbook and I wrote down every definition from the glossary, and that was probably about 200 words. So I wrote down all of those definitions, anything that I didn't know, and I studied that. And then I also went online to a website called ProProofs, and they had some practice exams, and I probably did 2 of those. So about 300 questions plus another 200 questions, so that's like 500, and the pro proofs is about 100 questions a piece. So that's why I said 200 for the 2 pro proofs I did. So about 500 questions and about 200 definitions. And that's literally what I studied. And I had like a packet of stuff that I had handwritten, and I studied all day, all while I was in class, all while I was at work, like literally was at the bar studying. Like literally I studied all the time. Like I would look over everything 3 or 4 times before I went to bed, a little bit when I woke up, in between classes, at lunch. I was studying constantly, nonstop. I'm a really, really good test taker. Like I probably could have studied half as much and still passed it because I'm a good test taker. But if you're not a good test taker, then you need to study your ass off and literally study everything. Literally everything. There's a different kind of test. You know, every test is different. So, you know, I can't be like, oh girl, this is what's on it, because it's everything that's on the test. But I definitely would tell you to study everything and start studying early. Like the second you get that test date, start studying. Just so whenever you start looking through your stuff, you're like, oh, this is this. Like, you know, it comes easier to you. So that way you're not so much as learning the stuff when you're about to take the test. You're just memorizing the stuff and getting familiar with it so you can see it and recognize it. I believe the test was 100 questions, and I think you had like 90 minutes to do it. I'm not sure, but I went to take my test at 9 o'clock and I was at school for 9:30 because I didn't want to miss a school day. So I went and took my test at 9 and I was at school at 9:30. So it took me less than 30 minutes to take it. And I just studied my ass off and I knew what was on the test and I passed it. So I definitely would tell you to study everything and really, 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 really dedicate your time to studying. It's good to take a while while you're in school, because when you out of hair school, you're not trying to study no more, girl. You out of school, you trying to relax and turn up. You ain't trying to study. You know what I'm saying? I keep looking over here because my phone over here. But, you know, whenever you out of school, you're not going to want to study no more. So while you're in school and you got friends that can quiz you and they can help you study and they probably studying too, that's the best time to take it. Don't wait till you're out of school and you don't want to worry about it no more to, you know, try to study and cram. Because when you out of school, baby, you ain't gonna be worried about no damn reading test, so don't even worry about it when you out of school. Try to get all that finished while you are still in school. So that's the written exam. The second part of your state board examination process is your practical, and that's where you have to do 5 things. This is kind of what's gonna get tricky if you're not in school already. So finger waves. You have to do a set of finger waves. That's pretty simple. A head of finger waves, and you gotta finish it in 10 minutes. So to do your finger waves, I would tell you to make sure that your doll head is thin, and I would tell you to make sure that it's cut at a short length, because it's harder to do it on thicker hair and it's harder to do it on longer hair, and you only have 10 minutes. So I would tell you when you're practicing, try to get it down to where you can do it in 7 minutes or something like that, so you got a little wiggle room to practice and stuff if you get nervous or something while you're testing. I always tell people, if you got 20 minutes to do it, try to finish it in 15, you know, so you got a little wiggle room. So finger waves, that's pretty normal. Do the head in 10 minutes or whatever. That's just what that is. What goes with the finger waves is your wet set. And that's basically, you put the hair, you separate the doll head in 4 sections, and you do finger waves in the back, do some roller placements at the top, some brush waves on one side and skip waves on the other side. And whenever you get to school, you'll learn what those different things are. And like I said, you get 30 minutes to do that whole head. Would divide 30 minutes by 4, just so you know how many minutes you have for each section, so you're not spending 15 minutes on one section and then you're like, oh shit, I gotta do the other 3 in 15 minutes. So I would tell you to do that. Time management is going to be how you pass it. Just making sure you manage your time wisely so you have time to finish it and to go back and perfect it if you need to. So that's that. Be careful with those, because if you fail the finger wave or the wet set, you got to go back and take both of them. Like, they're a pair, so you got to go back and take both of them. So make sure you pass those. You also have to do a 90-degree haircut. What that means is that all the hair on the head has to be the exact same length. So when they check it, they're going to pull hair from random places on the head and measure it, and it all has to be 90 degrees. So to prep for that, I would already cut the doll head to an even length. I would make sure everything was 6 inches, everything was 5 inches, and then when I go in, I know I only got to take 1 inch off of everything or something like that, just so you know that you only have to take a certain amount off. So it gets easier when you're just looking for an inch to take off, instead of you trying to be like, oh, this got to be 3 inches, but this part is 4 inches already and this part is 6. Like, make sure it's all even when you go in, so you only have to take off a certain amount of everything. And you have 40 minutes to do that. So I definitely would tell you to make sure everything's already even. A lot of people cut a certain amount of the haircut first. Like, they'll cut like the first couple of sections, and then when they go, they'll only have to do the top. I didn't cut nothing off of my doll head whenever I went. I just did the whole thing and I finished it and I was able to pass it. So I would just tell you to, if you wanted to cut some, then you could cut some. But I definitely would tell you to just make sure it's all even before you go in. The next thing you have to do is a roller set, and you basically want to do that on some short, dark hair so you can cover the parts a lot easier. If you have like a white mannequin head and the hair on the mannequin head is like orange, it's harder to cover the parts because you got this bright white scalp underneath this orange hair. But if you have a black doll head and you have a dark scalp and you have dark hair, it's easier for you to cover it. When they check the mannequin head, they want to make sure that the roller set is so big and so teased out that they can't see the scalp. So just make sure that they can't see your scalp, and as long as they can't see your scalp, you'll be fine and you'll be able to pass it. So that's super, super easy. Another thing about that is make sure that your rollers are really close together, and this doll set needs to be 100% dry before you go in. So I will tell you to roll it a couple of days before or even a week before, just to make sure that it's 100% dry. You have 20 minutes to do your roller set, by the way, so you know you have 20 minutes to tease everything, get everything nice and pretty. So the last thing you have to do is your chemical head, and you have 50 minutes to do that, and the head is separated into 5 sections. So think about, you have 10 minutes to do each section. You're going to do rollers on one side, foils on the other side, show a virgin bleach application on the back side, do a relaxer retouch on the other side, and you're going to do a color retouch at the top and the middle. So basically, try to balance out 10 minutes for each section and try to focus on getting each section perfect, because I mean, if you fail a piece of something on that head, you just got to go back and do that piece over. Like, you ain't got to do the whole thing over. So that's a good thing. But just make sure that you really practice each section individually, so when you go, you're not like, oh, I remember how to do this, but kind of didn't pay too much attention on this. Like, spend an equal amount of attention on everything so you can pass the whole section, because you don't want to have to go back and take anything over. Okay, so that's that. Also, whenever you are packing for Stay Board, make sure you have all of your stuff labeled. I brought a big bag, and I had like a Ziploc bag with everything I needed for my roller set, a Ziploc bag with everything I needed for my finger wave, the same thing for my haircut and everything like that. That way I could just grab the bag, see that it's labeled, and take it out. You don't want to be looking for clips and stuff like that, because you're not going to have that much time to set up. It moves pretty quickly. So I would just tell you to make sure that you have everything really nice and organized. Make sure the doll heads are clean and ready to go. You don't want a lot of product in your doll heads and things like that. Make sure that they're ready to go. You can make sure that they're already sectioned before you go. That's something that you can do as well. But yeah, just be ready to do it. Be prepared. I was doing like practice Stay Board stuff at my house before. Like, I would have somebody on the phone or whatever. Usually my girl, I would have her on the phone, and I would be like, okay, I'm about to do this, and she would be like, all right, you got 10 minutes to do this, you got 2 minutes left, 5 minutes left, you've already spent 8 minutes doing this, you know, just so you can keep track of your time, because it's harder when you're timing yourself, because you don't want to be worried about looking over like, I got time left. You know, you just want somebody to be able to be like, 2 minutes left, 5 minutes left, because that's how it's going to be when they're teaching you. Now when they're teaching you, when they're doing your test, they're going to be like, you got 5 minutes left, you got 10 minutes left. So yeah, the thing with the practical is just practice before you go in, and make sure you have your timing right, and make sure that you have everything organized. That's like the biggest thing with that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to practice and pass your State Board examinations. I hope you guys thought that this video was helpful and beneficial to all of my babies that are in hair school or going to hair school. State Board is not that hard. Do not freak yourself out about it, girl. It's not that bad. Do not freak yourself out about it. If you even go to State Board and you take it, you're doing good, because a lot of people finish school and don't even get their license when they finish. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media platforms, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.